What's up, everybody? Back again. Another one coming at you live, not live. All right. Yeah, I said I'd come back on today. I had a guest lined up for 9 o'clock this morning. Cancelled at 5 to 9. Always love that. Thank you very much for wasting my time. Probably not going to be asked back because I'm in a bad mood. That's okay, though. What are you going to do? People let you down. So yeah, I'm here. I said, you know what, Dave, just turn on the camera, turn on the microphone, record, see what comes out of your mouth. And that's what I'm going to do. When things are put in front of you, you get around them, you go over them. That's how we succeed, I guess, in life. And there's a fly right in my face as I try and sound some way philosophical. Doesn't always work, but here we are. I said, you know what, just talk, just get on there and talk. I had a topic in mind. It was reinforced by my beautiful wife, and I said, you know what, I'm going to turn on the mics, I'm going to turn on the camera, and I'm going to talk. So here we are. I checked my phone yesterday and I saw Anderson Silva is going to be boxing Tito Ortiz. Now, there's a part of me with all of this old school fighters coming in and fighting in exhibitions and whatever the case is. I'm very, very interested in this fight. I don't know what it is. What do you guys think? Put a comment and let me know if I'm out of my goddamn mind here. But these guys are way over the hill. Tito should have retired 10 years ago. Anderson has obviously declined over, like, he went from the greatest of all time who was currently doing it to losing several fights and just not looking the same since the first Chris Weidman knockout. You know, that softened the ego and that softened the whole Anderson Silva persona as the GOAT, you know. And they were all talking about Anderson to take on John Jones, and I don't know, at that time he had a good chance, but his career declined, and, you know, losing to Adesanya didn't help. I think he lost to Daniel Cormier at 205. Who decided to make that fight? That was insanity. But yeah, this fight coming up, I'll watch the shit out of that fight. There is, I think it's with Thriller, and I don't know if it's boxing or MMA rules. I didn't really look into it because I've been very busy the last couple of days. But Anderson Silva versus Tito Ortiz, that is a phenomenal fight. Like, this all happened. I think this is all happening now due to, like, Mike Tyson coming in and doing an exhibition against Roy Jones Jr. You've got, I think I saw as well last week, Vitor Belfort is going to box Oscar De La Hoya. What's going on, man? Now, here's a topic for a separate podcast. Fight or pay. They're doing this for money, obviously. Prize fighting, you know, but these guys are leaving their respective sports. I don't know what the deal is with Oscar because he got paid a lot of money and spent a lot of money. But we know how modern day MMA goes, especially in UFC. There's no insurance policy for your injuries outside of the cage. When you retire or your contract expires, there's nothing like that in place. Mark Coleman is a classic example of that. Diego Sanchez is now going to sign with bare knuckle boxing, all dependent on a medical test. But these guys are coming in and they're leaving their UFC careers where they made peanuts essentially, and any money that they did make that was considerably larger than their fight pay was their sponsorship, and that was taken away from them via Reebok, now Venom. But these guys are coming in and making truckloads of money now after their career should have been done 5-10 years ago. That's not a bad thing. Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. Ben Askren says it's the most money he's ever made ever. Tyrone Woodley is going to fight Jake Paul, and he said the money that he's going to make is more than his entire UFC fight purse for all of his contracts that he's been in. And he's fought a truckload in the UFC. So more power to them. At the same time, you just hope that they don't get really badly hurt. They just go in and fight and make it a believable fight. If it's fixed, fuck it. But I don't know, man. I'm just seeing all this stuff in the news and I'm like, that's a shame. I'm going to watch it though. So yeah. But I think that all ties in with, I think what I wanted to talk about today with my guest would have been confidence. Confidence is 90% of everything you do. Now, I know I'm not a successful billionaire on Instagram with beautiful music in the background saying, you got to work harder, you got to believe, set your goals and all that kind of crap. That's just for likes for them. But I am somebody who's got controlled confidence, controlled ego. And I learned it the hard way. I had an unhealthy ego and unhealthy levels of confidence based solely on one thing. I was the drummer in a band. I used to play music when I played music all my childhood, but I really started to take it seriously when I was 18. I was in several bands, musical projects. You know, I was in a thrash metal band. Shout out to the boys in Red King. But that all massaged a very unhealthy ego and false levels of, I don't want to say false levels of confidence, but false heightened levels of a confidence that shouldn't have been there. And that was all taken away from me when I took my first jiujitsu class, where this skinny little nothing had my arms and legs wrapped up like a shoelace and tied into a pretty little bow. And I'm like, I can get up and try and kill this motherfucker. No, did it again. So there was a turning point between the ages of 18 and 25. And then the turning point was from 25 to 28. Learning how to understand what levels of confidence are needed for certain tasks, what levels of confidence are needed, what levels of ego are needed. And, you know, you see, like, I'm turning this podcast into a complete ramble now, but stay with me here. I've been in many gyms in Ireland and in Switzerland. And the common theme is, and I've seen signs on the door, check your ego at the door. Leave your ego outside. I get what they're trying to achieve with that, but I say bring your ego in and control it. You don't want to walk in, be all quiet, sit in the corner, be told what to do, and be so focused on not standing out that you end up not paying attention to what's actually happening. To have the confidence, as I was previously saying, to have the confidence to fight after your career is finished, when you're on the downhill, is unbelievable. Now, granted, you're getting paid a lot of money to do it, but that's fantastic. I loved seeing Mike Tyson and Roy Jones in there, you know, looking the way they looked, knowing that their careers are essentially over, but like, all right, you give me a little bit of money, I'll do a little bit of training and I'll fight for the crowd. Cool. Vitor, we all know the issues with Vitor and steroids. Oscar, no issues with ego there, as in lack of. He's got plenty of ego to work with. But taking this to a more personal side, my ego was definitely checked from 25 on. Knowing that I'm not the heavy metal drummer in a band anymore where people are looking at you and saying, wow. They might have been saying, look at this dumbass behind the drum kit, but I don't really care. What I care about is knowing that I used to be and think like that, and now I don't. And I feel better knowing that I've checked it and that I can approach things on a more realistic level rather than to walk in with my chest out going, all right, you know? But to have confidence in yourself, as I said, 90% of it is confidence. And I say that knowing that I'm not established. I'm low level. I've started a podcast. I've got a job. I'm the partner of a gym. I'm not a billionaire. Who am I to talk about confidence to anybody? Talk to some suit who's made it. You know? But I just want to share with you guys a little bit about what I learned and my now new approach to anything I do. Like learning something. I put a couple of funny posts on Facebook and people are like, where's your show? Hey, you should start a podcast. I'm like, no, I don't want to start a podcast. I'd have to learn how to edit it, and I'd have to learn how to, I'd have to pay somebody to do it, and think about all the, the things that need to go along with doing a podcast. And I just thought, you know what? Let's start a podcast. They're like, oh, but you're going to put yourself out there and people are going to start, look at you, YouTuber. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Why would you? That comes with understanding what levels of confidence you need to approach anything. I think that's so important, and I'm super proud that I sit here with a camera and a microphone and a laptop and the knowledge that I learned with help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. People in the know, my brother has helped me out like nobody else. Unbelievable assistance with this. But to have no confidence and to just say, no, I don't want to do a podcast. No, I don't want to learn boxing. No, I don't want to do jiujitsu. No, I don't want to go apply for that job. I don't want to change the comfort zone that I'm in here right now. No. I say no to that. Confidence. Be confident. Believe in yourself. Understand that you naturally strive for greatness. To better yourself. I was in a situation in Ireland where during the recession, I was just like, what the hell am I going to do? I'm stuck. There's no other places hiring. I'm in a job that I didn't enjoy. Fix your problems. Be confident enough to understand and recognize that you have something in front of you that you do not want in front of you. Go around it, go over it, go under it, whatever. But get it out of your way and have confidence in yourself to know that you can do better for yourself, by yourself and with yourself. And I'll go back to the ego that I had when I was in a band where I was playing and, crowds of people. I see girls looking at me. I see guys like, super impressive drum solo, whatever. That was feeding an unhealthy ego. And learning how to control that. I think you might have seen a previous podcast with my friend Graham, where I think he had a sign on the wall. You owe it to yourself and his daughter to be a fucking monster. Like, that stays with me today. And I'm like, I'll tell you, you owe it to yourself to be the fucking monster. You hear Joe Rogan saying, be the hero in your own movie. Like, if you've gone through this pandemic and you've changed nothing except complain about the life that you had that you didn't enjoy, that you just wish went back to the way it was, then you got to ask yourself some serious fucking questions. I understand that this is a complete and utter tangential ramble, but I had a different topic in mind today. Plans changed, and I said, you know what? Just talk. Get it out. And that's what I'm doing. But yeah, the main focus I'm trying to give today is to have confidence. Be prepared. Failure is not an option. I never understood that, because failure is always an option. Failure, there's two options, failure and success. How is failure not an option? I fail to understand why people are afraid to do something because of failure. It makes me really sad to know that someone isn't doing something because they're afraid of failure. I'm in a situation right now at City Martial Arts Gym where I can't give too much away here, but we're currently trying to negotiate into buildings, and we've got all of this angst about what's going to happen next winter. Are we going to be in control of our own failure? What's going to happen if there's a lockdown? We don't have a building right now, so we're not paying rent. Are we going to sign a contract that's going to tie us to rent if there's another lockdown? Not being in control of your own failure is probably the worst position anybody could ever put themselves in. And with business, timing is everything. So we're looking for the best deal, the right stipulations and the right contracts. We're looking for a space to get all our equipment in and just get back to normal training, boxing, hitting the bags, sparring, doing a class, sitting down, talking about last week's fights, next week's fights. We're trying to be in control of the outcome. And myself and my partner are working very hard to not put us in a situation where we could be in a financial tailspin come January, February of next year. We'll look for a place, we'll try and find a place, but you got to be very careful what you're signing, and to have the levels of confidence and patience that myself and my partner are showing. It's a huge eye-opener for me, because prior to being business savvy, I would have just signed any document and just said, yeah, sure, cool, let us in. But I am confident in our gym. I'm confident in us as individuals. And I'm confident that with the right deal, we will flourish. But I will only be in control of the outcome. Myself and my partner. With the same vision, the same drive, and the same levels of confidence. Not overconfidence or an unhealthy ego, but just that level of awareness that we don't rush into anything and be completely out of control in relation to the failure of the business. And I think that's a very strong position for us to be in, and I'm very happy with that position. And if people are unhappy with that, come and talk to us. Like I say, people, I mean, our members, our clients, no one has talked to me yet about anything they're unhappy with. I'm doing free classes outside. I'm trying to keep everybody happy, and I think it is doing the job. But I'm in control, and that's what I'm most happy about, that I'm confident enough to wait. that my ego isn't taking over and I'm just signing a lease and getting into, as I said, a financial tailspin if the government comes in and shuts down the business and the landlord says, you have a signed contract. You confirmed that you will pay on the month, every month, on time and in full. Hashtag, we are not all in this together. I'm in a good mood. I really am in a good mood, but I like to get things out. I think that's very important, to not bottle up how you feel. This is just water, by the way. I don't want anyone to think I'm drinking straight vodka at this hour of the morning. But I think I've touched on so many different topics now in so many different tangents that I bring it all back into one. And I'll say to whoever's listening to my voice and seeing my lips move that confidence is key to everything. And I am a nobody to say that. I'm not a successful businessman. I'm not a billionaire. I'm just a guy who knows what it's like to have an unhealthy level of confidence, an unhealthy ego. But I've learned to funnel it and filter it to healthy levels of understanding and self-awareness. And again, I could talk about this for 3 hours. I'm going to keep this under 25 minutes. But that's where I am in life right now, and dealing with a pandemic and dealing with a business and trying to get a podcast off the ground and have it grow to numbers that allow it to be monetized and end up being financially viable. So we'll see. But that's what I'm doing right now. That was my journey of ego and confidence. And if you guys have any questions or concerns related to that, or if you want to share your stories, send me a private message and we'll get you on the podcast and you can talk about where you think I'm wrong or where you agree with me, or your story, your journey. But the fact that you are in control of your own ego and confidence is key. And don't be afraid to let it out and say, fuck, I fucked up. I approached that with too much confidence and too much ego. Learn, do better the next time. But again, what the fuck do I know? I'm just a guy with a camera and a microphone. I'm out of here, guys. That was enough rambling from me. Apologies for all the tangents, and thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe. That's all you're going to hear about it from me. And as I said, if anybody wants to come on, debate, or agree with me, please send me a message. We'll hook it up. Take care, guys. Rock and roll.